Hello from Pokerdetch, Albania. I'm going to do another what I spent in a month video about the month of July. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about where I'm at for August and some of my budgeting. For those of you who have been following these videos, you'll know that I had that spreadsheet where I've been tracking this from month to month. Unfortunately, I deleted that. Yeah, I don't know how. I think I'm a pretty tech-savvy person, but I managed to delete it, and I wasn't backing up my data because, long story short, I've been using a new computer, and I just never hooked up the automatic cloud backup. So anyway, I deleted the whole thing, and haven't been able to recover it. I tried everything. So this data is going to be from July going forward. At some point, I will start inputting the old data for comparisons, but as of right now, this is just going to be from July going forward. All right, so here are my monthly. Oh, I'm not floating. Let's see if I can make myself float. There we go. Am I floating? I'm floating. All right, so here's my monthly bills for the month of July. My rent is 40,000 lek per month, and right now that conversion is $477. So all of these numbers are in USD. All right, so my total bills, you'll see there's a couple things here that have been removed or have gone down. If you remember from my previous videos, I've gotten rid of some subscriptions, and I think that's actually about it. And I used to have this divided up differently, but this is where we're at for now. Aside from my rent, I pay for an iPostal service in the US, and that is also where I have my US address. Our phone bills with Vodafone, our internet, electric and water, and then these 3 subscriptions that to me are just, they're things I'm going to pay for the rest of my life. I'm just always going to have these. So my monthly total was $646.21, which isn't too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. It's come down quite a bit. But then here is all of the variable spending, all my other budgeting. Sorry if my energy seems a little off today. I've been sick for the last week and dealing with some health problems, so I'm a little tired. Not feeling great. All right, so anyway, here is the month of July. This was the budget, $1,160. I'll just show you what I spent. $1,711.44. I'll just talk a little bit about what happened. I am. All right, so I dropped my grocery budget to $155. I ended up getting a little bit higher than that, which is $172, but that's still pretty good for one person. But I think you could go lower than that if you really tried. I had a in the US. Spent quite a bit on foreign rate exchange fees. That's higher than usual. But I managed to only spend $71 in restaurants and not too much in transportation. Other than that, I mean, I feel like the budget was pretty good. I did spend a lot on household products, like I needed some blackout curtains and some cookware and stuff. So that was kind of high. So these are the biggest categories: the groceries, the shoes, household, and then of course my other category, which just grows every month. So the grand total for last month was $1,711.74. So let's see what my combined total was: $2,357.95. So that's pretty high. You can see that it is certainly possible to live in Albania for less than that, especially as a single person, but it's certainly possible to spend that much or more, depending on your lifestyle. So it is, let's see, it's August 18th today. So I'll show you a little bit about how we're doing for this month. Looks like the rent is going to be exactly the same, the phone, the internet. Electric bill is going to be really high for August because we've been running air conditioners. And I know there was one month in the winter where we had a really high electric bill. It was 150 euros or something like that. And that was because we were running electric heaters. So it'll be interesting to see what the electric bill actually is this month. And I'll show you where we currently are with our August spending. Let's see if I can lock this. All right, so top row is frozen. All right, so it's August 18th. There's actually some things that aren't on here yet. All right, and I've raised the grocery budget to $350 now that Jesse's back. You can see where the grocery bills started to go up. That is when Jesse returned. We are currently at $167.92. So yeah, I think this is gonna be pretty doable. I'm gonna put this back into the restaurant budget. I made a separate column for coffee because I would go out for coffee all the time. And I realized that, $5 a day on coffee adds up. So I made a separate column for that just so I could track how much I was spending. I'm not really doing that anymore, so I'm gonna put in coffee fees into my restaurant budget. And I also separated water because I was starting to buy bottled water again. There's no air conditioners in here, but I was able to buy these portable air conditioners that sit on the ground, and they have wheels and you can move them around, but they vent out the types of windows that we have. So we got 2 of those. Mine came from GoTech and it was $650. His came from Megatech and was $356 and as good or maybe even a slightly better. So Megatech was definitely the better deal. And I haven't been able to find them anywhere else, not this style. There's plenty of the split unit air conditioners for sale everywhere. So for this month, I'm already at $856, which is terrifying. Is that you're staying. It is something you want to look for though. Don't assume that a place has not even an Airbnb. You want to look and make sure that they have air conditioners, especially in the summer. Oh yeah, transportation was another big expense. So I made a couple trips back and forth to Tirana. And because of the heat and the buses not being air conditioned, I took cabs. My cab driver gave me a pretty good deal, but it still was pretty expensive. Actually, I would take a bus there and cab back. So this was actually the combined total. Actually wonder if I might be missing a bus fee in here somewhere, but it's pretty close. So that's where we are for the month. Again, a lot of these might not apply to you if you're not taking cabs 2.5 hours away, or you're relying on buses wherever you go. You won't have these huge air conditioner expenses. And based on your eating and your restaurant habits, that can vary person to person, family to family. So that's where we are for the and hopefully for the month of September, there will be no large purchases. I do need an office chair, and unfortunately, I'm looking at spending a couple $100 on that, but that will likely actually fall into the month of August. So September's my month. But I will be increasing my health budget quite a bit. I've been neglecting some health needs, including seeing my back doctor, and some other little things have popped up. So this number will be increasing. But, that's why I have these spreadsheets. I appreciate seeing where the money's going all at the same time. That way I can say, okay, well, I need to spend less here so I can spend more here. And that's just kind of how my brain works. Alright, so I was just editing this video and realized that I forgot to do one thing that I wanted to do. I would like to show you what my cost would be if I removed all of the odd expenses that most of you are likely not going to have. So I'm just going to interject this here. I was just finished working for the day, and I was just putting the final touches on this video, and then I was getting ready to post it, and I was like, oh, I meant to show you all what your budget a better idea of what your budget would probably look like if you didn't have, all these odd expenses that I have. All right, am I floating? I am floating. Okay, so pretty much everything in this other section I'm going to remove. So there's a plane ticket for Jesse. There's $300 worth of document fees that most people are not going to have to deal with. Let's see. I spent a lot of money on shoes because Jesse was in the US and I really wanted these particular shoes to come home with him. So I'm going to remove that. And I'll go ahead and remove the household expenses as well. because I do have paper products and toiletries on here. Everyone's going to need those things, but you're not necessarily going to need household products. So every place comes furnished. Some are furnished better than others, so you might need some things, but in a lot of cases, it's not an absolute necessity. All right, so I removed all of those things, and if you take a look, I got my budget down to $476. That makes me want to cry. Anyway, but these are things that pretty much everyone's going to encounter. Well, you're not going to have dog and cat. A lot of people aren't going to have dog and cat expenses in their budget, so I'll go ahead and remove those as well. So if you took out all that stuff that you are unlikely to spend or less likely to spend, you're going to look at about $458 a month. Now, if you eat a lot of meat, your grocery bill, even for one person, is likely going to be higher than this. I don't eat as much meat as the average meat eater. And restaurants, this is a number that could certainly go significantly higher. It can go lower. It wouldn't be that hard to live on a much more frugal budget here. So now keep in mind, this budget does not include going out to the bar, any type of excursions or fun or tours or travel, even local travel. So this would be an extreme version of a budget. Now, more than likely, if you're moving out here, you can kind of look at this as like your bare necessity budget. And then whatever's left over, maybe you have to split up on other things like travel or fun things you want to do or going out, nightlife, anything like that. So that's $458.23. Let me put that in here. $23. So that reduces the budget more than half. And the combined total of my monthly bills and that spending would be $1,104. But again, I would consider that a bare bones, bare minimum budget. There would not be a whole lot of fun, but maybe that's what you're looking to put together. What would your bare bones budget be? And then you know how much you would have left over for other things. So anyway, I just thought that might be helpful to compare. Let's take a look at August. So if you were to remove my air conditioner fees and the cabs and just stuck with buses, another $12 here to make up for that. So then we would be at $321, being a little bit over halfway through this month. So that's not too bad. I certainly plan on spending a little bit of money at the salon this month. I get my hair done like once every 5 or 6 months, so I'm not too concerned about that. We don't spend a lot on paper products. They're very cheap here. Toiletries. I am going to spend more on toiletries this month because I'm going to Tirana tomorrow. And there's one store in Tirana that has chemical-free products. So I'm going to get all the products that I can there since I don't have access to that store very often. So that's why that number's higher this month. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with everything else. Like, to me, $75 for a restaurant is doable. It's not great. Actually, I increased that when Jesse's here. You can certainly spend a lot more. You can spend less. There are some extremely affordable restaurants around here. It depends how much you cook and how much you want to go out. And then groceries. I think $350 is plenty for 2 people, even with Jesse, because most of our diet is grains and vegetables and produce, which is extremely affordable here. And then he adds on his meat. I mean, I have some too, but just nowhere near as much as he does. So I just wanted to show you, I didn't want to just show you what I was spending. I wanted to give you a better idea of what was possible. So I hope this was helpful, and I have an expense video coming out, a spreadsheet video coming out to show my expenses when I traveled around the Mediterranean with bailing. All right, well, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all in the next one.